The Oklahoma City Thunder finally get a stroke of luck in this rebuild as the New Orleans Pelicans knock off the LA Clippers. What does that mean as the Thunder get an additional lottery pick? What are the new lottery odds? And how does this impact the future of the Thunder organization? All that and more coming up on today's Locked On Thunder podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day.
You are Locked On Thunder, your daily Oklahoma City Thunder podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's get it going on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your teams every day. I am your host, Rylan Stiles. You can follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Stiles. You can follow the show on Twitter at LOThunderPod. Email the show, LOThunderPod@gmail.com. On today's show, we're going to dive into the LA Clippers falling to the New Orleans Pelicans, giving the Thunder their second lottery pick in the 2022 NBA draft. How does this impact the future of the Thunder? What are the new outcomes that are possible now in the draft lottery in 30 days? And there's drama in LA with Kawhi Leonard. All this and more coming up on today's show. Thank you for making Locked On Thunder your first listen every single morning, every single day. We're here for you, talking Thunder basketball. Subscribe for free across all podcast platforms and YouTube so you never miss an episode, because we're staying daily throughout the entire offseason, talking Thunder basketball. What a day. What a day for the Thunder. The Clippers fall to the Pelicans when it feels like the first stroke of luck for the Thunder in this rebuild. And that's the big key. When you're rebuilding in a small market and you have no hope of signing big ticket item free agents, it comes down to luck mostly. There are some things you can do to create your own luck. Tanking is one of them. Having a good GM in Sam Presti who went outside the box and drafted a Josh Giddey at pick 6 last year is one of them. But you're going to need moments like this to complete a rebuild in a small market like Oklahoma City. And they got that moment today as the Clippers fall to the Pelicans. Paul George was out due to COVID-19. Luke Kennard was out as well for the Clippers. Brandon Ingram went off for 30 points. CJ McCollum dropped 19 points. Shout out Larry Nance Jr., 14 points, 16 rebounds, 4 assists, had a steal, had a block. Look, talking all about salary space, things like that. Here in a couple of years, I don't care what if the Thunder get 2 top 3 picks in this lottery system, then whenever Larry Nance Jr.'s contract's up, let's go look that up right now. Whenever Larry Nance is no longer under contract in 2023, unrestricted free agent, just throw him a bag because of what he did. If the Thunder do get 2 top 3 picks, give him a max contract. I don't care. He deserves it, because if the Thunder get 2 top 3 picks in this draft, it'll be insane. Larry Nance Jr. did awesome for the Pelicans as they overcome 27 points from Reggie Jackson and Marcus Morris and 17 from Norman Powell. It would have been dreadful had the Clippers won without Paul George, without Luke Kennard, without Kawhi Leonard on the back of Reggie Jackson. So after the Pelicans had so many, after the Clippers had so many comebacks over the years, it would have been awful to see them have this comeback in this game, and or just over the year, have them come back in this game and win this game. But the Pelicans do win 105-101, and the Pelicans advance to play the Suns in the first round. Wow. That Clippers pick now moves from pick 15 to pick 12. So at the very worst, if we just stop right here, the Thunder today gained 3 spots in the draft. That Clippers pick is entirely unprotected. There's a 7.1% chance to be in the top 4, a 1.5% chance at the top overall pick. Let's just review. Because of one game, because of this play-in, the Thunder move up 3 spots and also see this pick's chance of being top overall go from 0 to 1.5. The odds improve from 0 to 7.1 of being in the top 4. I know that whenever we're talking about 15 to 12, it might not sound like a big difference. And we're going to review later on in the show like kind of how the last five uh, drafts have gone at pick 15, at pick 12, at pick 4. But for doing nothing, you gained 3 spots at worst, and you gave yourself a shot. You've got to give yourself a shot. That's what this is all about. That's what tanking is about. You're giving yourself a shot to get the top overall pick. It's not guaranteed. With the Pelicans winning today, you've gotten another shot at getting a top overall pick. And the Clippers pick at the lowest can go to 14, which is only a 0.1% chance. So basically, no shot at all. The highest it can go, of course, is pick 1 with a 1.5% chance at pick 1. The most likely outcome is pick 12 with an 86.1% chance at pick 12. Further breaking it down. So again, the most likely case scenario is 86.1 at pick 12. There's a 6.7% chance at pick 13. There's a 0.1% chance at pick 14. They have a 2.1% chance to be the fourth overall pick, the 1.9% chance at pick 3, the 1.7% chance at pick 2, and the 1.5% chance at pick 1. That's the lottery breakdown for that Clippers pick. That's where you stand right now because of this game. Rather than being locked in at 15, no shot of moving up just by luck, you now have, for sure, 2 lottery picks, 2 picks that could go to the top overall pick, both picks owed to you, of course, your own pick, and then the Clippers pick has 0 protections. So no matter what happens on lottery night, you're going to get that Clippers pick. It's going to be anywhere from 12 to 1, and it's going to be marvelous. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but being able to have a trade package of 2 lottery picks versus pick 15 and whatever the Thunder pick it lands at is just that little edge of a sweetener that you need. I've talked this entire year about how whenever you go to the trade table, if you're Sam Presti, there's not very many sweeteners because you don't want to trade SGA. You don't want to trade Josh Giddey. You don't want to trade Lou Dort if you have that attachment to Lou Dort, obviously. So you're running out of things to sweeten the pot. Well, instead of future first-round picks that could turn into anything, you at least now have tangibly 2 lottery picks this year. And we'll find out in like 30 days just how valuable they're going to be and just what the Thunder need to do to get back to contention to complete this rebuild. Now, will it be completed this offseason? I don't think so, obviously. But with this luck tonight, it goes a long way in laying the next foundation for the next Thunder team. We're going to get into where the Thunder pick stands and where they could stand combined and what kind of can happen for the Thunder in the future coming up. But first, I want to tell you right now, we're good friends over at BetOnline. BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting stats and sports info. You can find the latest sports developments, league news, and review, including this year's basketball playoffs and the start of the MLB season. BetOnline is your continued source for sports wagering information and live betting, the playoffs, esports, and more. You can visit their website today and use your mobile device and check out the latest odds and info at BetOnline, which is where the game starts. Folks, this is how easy it is. You go to betonline.net, go to their sports book. Let's go ahead and bet on some postseason basketball, which starts today. As we start the playoffs after the play-in tournament concludes, we go down to basketball in their sports book, go to the NBA in their sports book, NBA basketball games. And here we go. First game of the day, Jazz against Mavs. Mavs 5-point underdogs. You know what? Even though there's probably going to be no Luka, let's go Mavs +5 here. I think that the crowd in the AAC, the fact that it's the first game of the day, it's 12 o'clock, so the Utah Jazz body clock's really like an 11 a.m. game type of scenario. The crowd's going to be feeling it, trying to make their impact without Luka. And you have Spencer Dinwiddie that can go off. You have Jalen Brunson, who has to improve and has to be better than he was last postseason. I'm feeling the Jazz getting upset here in game 1 to buy some time for Luka on that injury. Let's go Mavs +5. We locked it in that matter of time. It's so quick, so easy, so fun. Go to BetOnline right now to place your own bet, either with me at Mavs +5 or against me at Jazz -5. And of course, any other game you want to bet on the docket this weekend with a loaded schedule for the NBA postseason. We are back on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. Thank you for making Locked On Thunder your first listen every single morning, every single day. We're here for you, talking Thunder basketball. Your second listen, go check out the Locked On Now podcast, a nightly recap show recapping every game from the NBA with breakdowns from our local experts. It's free and available across all platforms wherever you get podcasts from. So go check it out over there, Locked On Now podcast. Folks, the Thunder got luck today. They got an additional lottery pick. Let's continue breaking down what it means. So we went through the Clippers scenarios. The Thunder scenarios, of course, remain the same as they will until lottery day. The lowest the Thunder can drop is pick 8. That's the lowest they can go with a 2.2% chance of happening. The highest they can go is pick 1 with a 12.5% chance of happening. The most likely scenario for the Thunder is pick 6 at 25.7. So again, 25.7 for the pick 6, 16.7 for pick 7, 12.5% chance at pick 1, 12.2% chance at pick 2, 11.9% chance at pick 3, 11.5% chance at pick 4, and 7.2% chance at pick 5, with again the 2.2% chance of falling all the way to 8, which hopefully will not happen for the Thunder. So let's review the last 5 12th overall picks, 15th overall picks, and 4th overall picks. So last year, 4th overall pick, Scotty Barnes. Guy's pretty good. He is pretty good. The last year's 12th overall pick was Josh Primo by the Spurs. And the last year's 15th overall pick was Corey Kispert. So you go from Corey Kispert up to the Josh Primo slot, which of course probably reached by the Spurs, and you could have done a little bit better, but still, that's kind of the improvement there. And then in 2020, the 4th overall pick, Patrick Williams, a really good defender who's had some injury issues that kind of might not have seen him yet play if you don't really watch the Bulls, but he's played some really good defense and looks like a key rotational player. Here's the big deal, though. 2020, at 12, it was Tyrese Halliburton. At 15, it was Cole Anthony. That's a massive drop-off. It's a massive, massive drop-off. And then you move to 2019. You had DeAndre Hunter at 2019, pick 4. However, Darius Garland went pick 5, and you can't rewrite history. You can't rewrite what the teams thought at the time, but you have to imagine that if Sam Presti was in that seat to make that decision, he probably does a little bit better than that. But still, Garland probably was the pick there at 4 if it's Sam Presti making the call. But that's kind of the value of pick 4 in 2019. In 2019, pick 12 was PJ Washington. Pick 15, Sekou. The difference in having a solid NBA player versus a player not in the NBA from pick 12 to 15, especially in a draft like this one this year. You go down to 2018. Pick 4 in 2018 was Trae Young. Of course, that was involved in the Luka Doncic swap with the Mavs and Hawks, but still, Trae Young is technically pick 4 in 2018. You had Miles Bridges at pick 12, and then you had Troy Brown at pick 15. Big difference. And then, just to review the last 5 years, 2017, Josh Jackson, pick 4, obviously a bust. 2017, pick 12 was Luke Kennard, and 2017, pick 15 was Justin Jackson. Folks, we love his time here in Oklahoma City, but I'd much rather have Luke Kennard than Justin Jackson. That's kind of the difference in moving up versus moving down and shuffling around these picks. On paper, it's only 3 slots, but in actuality, in practice, whenever you get to see the caliber of players that leap from pick 15 to 12, it's a pretty big deal. And of course, there have been some really good pick 15s out there as well, but those same guys were available at pick 12 as well. So Thunder pick history, pick 12s, Steven Adams, Robert Swift, and Nick Collison. Hey, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And that's some good juju for the Thunder to have Nick Collison and Steven Adams, 2 of the heart and souls of Bricktown. Even though Steven Adams, of course, has now played for a couple of other teams, but still, I think that in his heart of hearts, he's a member of the Thunder. And of course, Nick Collison, Mr. Thunder, first player to have his jersey retired at pick 12 as well for Seattle. And then, of course, going over to Oklahoma City, Mr. Thunder, Nick Collison. That's awesome. That just feels right. The last pick 4, Russell Westbrook. Again, just feels right. Just feels right. What are you going to do? I think that, when we start to consider who to send to the NBA draft lottery, number 1 on my big board, me. Why not? I think I do a good job. I think I could sit there pretty stoic at the combine and not reveal our cards too much, Sam Presti. If you want to make that happen, you know where to find me. At @Rylan_Styles on Twitter. You have my number. You can call me anytime. Promise you, I'm awake 24/7, ready for your call anytime. But that's my big board. That's my personal big board. I'm number 1. Number 2 on my big board, Rumble the Bison. Why not have some fun? Why be so serious? Come on. Number 3, Sam Presti himself. Because I feel like the Thunder could get pick 1 and 2 in the lottery, and Sam Presti would still just be sitting in his chair, relaxed, calm, hand over his mouth like he was in that Paul George scene in that documentary on SportsCenter, where he's like, "Scared me, don't make money." That scene right before he said that line, and we looked all cool and relaxed. I think he'll look that way whenever the Thunder get pick 1 and 2. Like, I think that nothing can phase Sam Presti. I think that'd be very hilarious to see happen in real time. So we've got me, Rumble, Sam Presti. Sounds like a hell of a party, I might add. Again, let's make that happen, Sam. Give me a call anytime. You know where to do it. Okay. Number 4. This is a big one to me. I think number 4 is Josh Giddey, but he has to be making TikToks at the time. Like, you know how, like, whenever the broadcast starts, they're trying to elongate the ping pong ball drawing and elongate the show, and they go around to all the representatives and ask them how they're feeling. When they go to Josh Giddey, he has to be on his phone. He has to be making TikToks, and he has to just ignore the question. Like, "Hey, Josh, how you feeling tonight about the chances?" "What do you mean breathe, breathe?" Like, he's just doing a TikTok on his own, not even paying attention at all, right? And then Nick Collison. Nick Collison, I think, should be the winner in all of this, but Nick Collison should go to the NBA draft lottery. Good juju. We're about good vibes in 2022. That's all we're about. That's all we're ever going to be about. Vibes. And every candidate on my big board to go to the lottery is a vibe. It is. What can I say? Hey, again, I'll go to Chicago or wherever the combine's held this year. I think it's Chicago. I'll go to Chicago. I'll help you select the picks. No big deal. I won't tell anybody. I'll give you my big board. It'll be awesome, Sam. It'll be awesome. Okay. Who should the Thunder send to the lottery? That's the first question of the day. Put it in the comment section below. Tell me on Twitter at Rylan_Styles. Coming up, we're gonna do something very fun. We're gonna end this show, the special show about the Clippers losing to the Pelicans, with 3 tankathon spins and where the team ends up and what the fallout would be for the team ending up there. But first, I want to say right now, we're good friends over at Built Bar. Built Bar is a fantastic protein bar that tastes just like a candy bar. Go to built.com. Use the promo code LOCK15. Get 15% off your next order. They have so many great flavors, which is why I love them. BuiltBar.com is incredible because they can stock you up on protein bars that taste just like a candy bar with 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 grams of net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. It's available at Built.com with 15% off whenever you use the code LOCK15. My personal favorite flavor is the cookies and cream option. They have 100% real chocolate on the outside, makes it so great. And you can use them pre-workout or post-workout or even as a meal replacement or a snack. Make sure you go check them out today. Built.com, promo code LOCK15, 15% off of your next order. And please try out that white chocolate cookies and cream option. It is very good. Also, I want to tell you about your friends over at rockauto.com. Rockauto.com is an amazing selection. It's reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com. Folks, my favorite part about rockauto.com is that I know nothing about cars, and I don't have to know anything about cars. All I have to know is my make, my model, my year, and they're only going to show me car parts that are compatible with my vehicle. That way, I'm not wasting time, effort, or money on parts I cannot use or parts I do not need. It makes it so easy for me to go to rockauto.com, write locked on in the how did you hear about this box, and then we'll do from there. Rockauto.com, amazing selection, reliably low prices of the parts your car will need. Rockauto.com. Folks, go check them out today. Rockauto.com. We are back on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. Thank you for making Locked On Thunder your first listen every single morning, every single day. We're here for you, talking Thunder basketball. Your second listen, go check out the Locked On NBA podcast. Folks, from jump ball, the first play-in tournament game, through the NBA Finals, our local experts are taking you deeper into the playoffs than you've ever been before. Plus, we're still going to be covering the draft lottery, the draft, and the offseason as well over Locked On NBA. That stays 5 days a week for the offseason. We stay 5 days a week for the offseason. It's all the basketball content you can ever dream of here on the Locked On Thunder podcast and the Locked On Podcast Network and the Locked On NBA podcast. So go check us out anywhere you get podcasts from. Every episode free and available on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or anywhere else get podcasts from. Now let's continue here. Let's continue this pleasant day as the Clippers fall to the Pelicans with 3 tankathon spins. Our first spin, then of the Thunder, pick 6 and 12. According to Tankathon's mock draft, that gives the Thunder AJ Griffin and Jalen Duren. Our second spin nets the Thunder pick 3 and 12. According to the Tankathon mock draft, that gives the Thunder Paolo Banchero and Jalen Duren. But the third spin is where the juice comes, right? It's where you get all hot and bothered, all tingly on the third spin. Pick 3. However, pick 3 is via the Clippers pick, and pick 6 is via the Thunder's pick. That nets the Thunder the 2 Duke players, Paolo Banchero and AJ Griffin. In actuality, I wonder if that would look like, the Thunder getting Paolo and Shaedon Sharpe if he stays in the draft. These outcomes are interesting. Again, I think that you go back to the 6 and 12 outcome. That's probably one of your least exciting outcomes. However, not only is 6 and 12 a nice package to use if you want to try to move up a little bit, but it's also a play for Sam Presti to say, look, Shaedon Sharpe, I know you've not hired an agent. I know you can technically still go back to school, but next year's draft class is absolutely loaded. You never know what could happen in college. We guarantee you will not fall past pick 6. If you go before our pick, that's even better for your career, but you will not fall past pick 6. That's an enticing offer. You haven't played a single college game, and you're going to be a top 6 pick in the draft. You're going to go to an organization like the Thunder, who have such great player development and a great culture and a great fit for a young player. You get to play alongside SGA and Josh Giddey and Kenny Hustle, who can, of course, teach you professional habits. That's a really enticing offer. So having picked 6 and 12 would give Sam Presti leverage to do that kind of thing, to dictate the draft, to dictate the players in the pool. Because again, including Shaedon Sharpe in this pool just elongates the draft. It makes the draft that much deeper. It's only one player, but again, one spot is so valuable in the draft. If you include Shaedon Sharpe in this draft, you either get him at pick 6 or somebody reaches on him before that and a player falls to you that you didn't think was going to fall to you. It's a win-win scenario by promising Shaedon Sharpe pick 6. So that's the kind of leverage play the Thunder can have if, quote unquote, the worst case scenario happens and you get pick 6 and 12. Which, of course, technically the worst case scenario would be, pick 8 for the Thunder. And the Clippers, of course, falling down to pick 14. But still, the worst of the realistic scenarios for the Thunder would be 6 and 12. And that's still not a terrible outcome. The bottom line is, because of today's game, you have a trade package that now can include 2 lottery picks this year, 2 tangible things. You're not banking on hope. You're not trying to sell wishes. You're selling 2 lottery picks. For the price of nothing, you jump 3 slots. It take you back to 2 days ago when we thought this pick was going to be pick 15. And fast forward you to the draft at pick 15. How much capital do you need to give up to move from 15 to 12? From 15 to 12, you at least got to give up a couple second-round picks with your pick. Probably got to give up a future first-round pick that's kind of heavily protected. Now you get it for free. Now you've done that for free to continue to try to control your own destiny in this draft. And the Thunder now have the same number of combinations for the top overall pick as the Pistons, Rockets, and Magic. So you've kind of flattened your own odds now, where you've now gotten the same odds to get the top overall pick as those other teams do, despite them tanking better than you did this year in the sense of their win-loss record. And then there's, of course, rumblings on Twitter. I'm not sure how credible they are because the same person that put this out there also was wrong about the Jamal Murray injury and him coming back sooner than he is. Of course, he's still not back. Jamal Murray isn't. But there's rumblings that Kawhi is unhappy in LA and unhappy with the team doctor, just like he was in San Antonio with the Spurs. And they have a very reactionary owner, Steve Ballmer. And the Clippers could be reeling. Also, folks, to be fair, the Clippers could still be very, very good next year if they're healthy. If you have Kawhi and you have Paul George and you have Norm Powell and you have this version of Reggie Jackson, you have Ty Lue is a very good coach, and you have all these things in place, the Clippers will be a title favorite next year if they're healthy. So this is a lucky break that at least one of these picks in this treasure trove of draft picks from the Clippers, at least one of these picks turns into a lottery pick. I don't think anybody thought it turned to a lottery pick this soon. I think many thought there was almost no way to turn to a lottery pick at all, but still, at least one of that historic draft capital will be a lottery pick, and we'll see how many more turn into that down the line. And so, all in all, very good day for the Thunder. Now we wait, we overload tankathon.com, and we sweat it out until the draft lottery. We'll get you covered the entire way with player prospect profile and projections on NBA draft prospects, chats with @MavsDraft on Twitter, Richard Stamen, and so much more coming up on the Locked On Thunder podcast. Make sure you subscribe for free across all platforms so you never miss an episode. And until next time, be good and be good to one another.